Let's kick things off with a question that sounds really simple, but is actually incredibly deep. How do you tell the story of a life? Seriously, think about it. The way you answer that says a lot. So, if I put that to you right now, what's your gut reaction? I bet for most of us, the answer just pops into your head. You start at the beginning, at birth, and you just move forward until you get to the end. It feels natural, right? I mean, it's how we experience time itself. Well, that instinct, that default setting, it has a name. It's the chronological biography. For centuries, this has been the main scaffolding we use to build a life story. It's that simple path of, and then this happened, and then this happened. And you can totally see the appeal, can't you? It's intuitive. It gives us this really clear, tidy sense of cause and effect. But is a life really just a straight line of dominoes falling one after the other? Is it really that simple? And this is where we start to run into some problems. Because relying only on the clock, on what happened next, can become a kind of tyranny. It's a rigid structure that can take a complex, messy, beautiful life and just flatten it, hiding the deeper truths of who a person really was. Let's look at it this way. Chronology gives you a simple chain. A led to B, which led to C. But a real life? Come on, it's more like a complex, tangled web. Our reasons for doing things aren't just about what happened yesterday. They're all mixed up with memories from childhood, our hopes for the future, and a million other things at once. This creates what you could call an illusion of causality, making life look way simpler than it actually is. And it's not just motivations that get lost in the shuffle. A timeline is great at recording the external stuff, the what and the when, but it often completely misses the person's entire inner landscape, the why and the how. It can tell you the date someone got married, but it struggles to capture the story of their evolving love, their doubts, or their deepest fears. So, the biggest danger here is that pure chronology can actually shatter a person's story. Think about it. An idea someone has when they're 20 might not fully blossom until they're 60. A strict timeline separates those two moments by hundreds of pages, totally obscuring the very threads that gave that person's life its unique pattern. Okay, so if just following the clock isn't the whole answer, then what is? Well, let's dig into our first alternative, the thematic approach. This is all about looking past the dates to find the deeper essence of a life, its core questions and concerns. This quote just nails the shift in thinking. You stop asking, what happened next, and you start asking, what was this life fundamentally about? It's a massive leap away from just listing events and toward finding the substance, the meaning behind it all. What was the driving force, the central obsession? But how do you find that? Well, this is where biographers turn into detectives. They hunt for these thematic pillars. They're combing through letters for ideas that pop up again and again, looking for consistent patterns in behavior or spotting the dominant emotions that guided someone their whole life. These are the real building blocks. To make this real, let's imagine a biography of a writer. The old way, it's just a list of their books by publication date. But a thematic approach would organize their entire life, their childhood, their travels, their relationships, all around a central obsession, like, say, isolation. All of a sudden, events from totally different decades connect, and they reveal this much deeper, richer story. All right, building on that, let's explore a second alternative, the conceptual approach. This one is perfect for the big thinkers, the scientists, the philosophers, the artists, anyone whose major impact was really in the world of ideas. This is such a fascinating way to look at a person. Instead of seeing them as some isolated genius who dreamed everything up on their own, this method places them inside a network. It asks, who influenced them, and who did they go on to influence? They become this vital hub in the massive, ongoing conversation of history. Biographers who do this are almost like conceptual cartographers. They're mapping an intellectual territory. First, they pinpoint the core ideas. Then they trace where those ideas came from, watch how they changed over time, and finally, they measure the impact they had on the world. So, a biography of a political theorist using this method wouldn't start with their birth. No way. It would start with their big idea, maybe a revolutionary concept of liberty. And their personal life, that only gets brought in when it helps explain how that idea came to be. Their life serves the story of the idea, not the other way around. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so I have to choose one, the clock, the theme, or the concept. But here's the secret. The most masterful biographers, they don't choose. They weave it all together in what we can call the art of synthesis. And this is the key takeaway. Chronology isn't the enemy here. The goal isn't to get rid of it, it's to put it in its proper place. And the greatest biographies, the timeline becomes a flexible scaffold, a sturdy frame that you hang all the richer, more interesting thematic and conceptual explorations on. Here's how it all comes together. Imagine a biography of a scientist. You get the chronology of their key discoveries, you get the theme of their lifelong obsessive quest for a unifying theory, you get the concept of the new scientific paradigm they created, and you get the personal drama, the rivalries and friendships that fueled their work. You see? You get a complete multi-layered picture. Because ultimately, that's the whole goal. A truly great biography is not just a record of what happened, it's an argument. It's an insightful interpretation that makes a powerful case for what that person's life really meant and why it should still matter to us today. So, I'll leave you with a final question to chew on. If someone were to write your story, not as a simple timeline, but as a deep, thematic exploration, what would it be about? What's the central thread that connects all the different scattered pieces of your life?